All right, kind of on the south wall of the garden here. So watermelons, the little sugar baby watermelons, they're growing too. And I put this kind of wiring over it so that the dang rogue rabbits or squirrels don't eat it. So far, they haven't eaten it. Now, the eggplant here has been doing great. I've been getting lots of little eggplant. But look at all the spots on the leaves. You can see that something, it's almost like somebody like shot it with a shotgun, has been eating this stuff. So there's some little bug, aphid, I don't know what it is because I can't see them. I don't actually see anything eating it, but they have these marks. Now the plants still seem to be growing okay, and I've put neem oil sprays and stuff on them last week, but I'm going to get some diatomaceous earth and I'm going to put it on these melons and the peppers and the eggplant. Let's see if that doesn't help kill some of the things, right? This poor little pepper here, he's been staying alive, but he ain't doing much. And this guy here is just doing a slightly bit better. I don't know what their story is. I've been feeding them. Maybe they got overfed there as part of my other problem, but we'll try to boost them back up. Jalapenos grow really well. Look at all the jalapenos. I'll be making salsa from now until the end of time because that grows well. And the baby eggplant. Here's another one. I love the color of the eggplants, these purple and white stripes. They're really kind of nice. As we move down, this is last year's pepper. Oh, look at what I found. You know, folks, when you have drip irrigation and stuff like that, look at that. That fell off. So I need to snap that back into his holder and get that back in position there so we can water successfully. Always check your garden. Always make sure that nothing breaks, because then you're not watering and plants die like I showed you. I ran out of water on my aquaponics. Now this pepper here, this isn't really a cucumber, that got in there by mistake, but look at the nice yellow ghost pepper. That's really nice. And like I say, look at the thickness of that trunk. This is last year's pepper. We brought it into the garage, overwintered it, and it took off. Hey, more watermelon, and there's some more flowers. So all right, let's see if we can successfully grow those to term. And then look, folks, these are last year's ghost peppers as well. Look at the ghost peppers that is coming off of these plants. I tell you, if they weren't so hot, I would be eating them just off the vine. But they're really good, you know, to grind up and dry out as chili powder and stuff. But honestly, I hope to have some friends or neighbors who want hot chili peppers. So they're just doing great. So, you know, we got the heat, and I guess they love it too. Now here are my Hungarian wax. Boy, they are in need of picking, because again, you go away for a week and you come back and it's all growing. There's some more jalapenos for more salsa and some white eggplant. Now I enjoy, of the eggplants that I'm growing this year, of that one and then these two over here and this one over here, I'm growing a smaller variety and the white variety, because one of the things that is harder to grow is those eggplants with the big giant eggplant, right? It takes a lot of resources, a lot of everything, and these are easy to grow because they're smaller. The other thing, they got less seeds. Oh, I hate all those seeds in an eggplant. So when you make and grow the little eggplants and you cut them up, you can make eggplant parmesan and everything that you normally would, but it's smaller without seeds and you just use more of them. All right, we have good success here for our marigolds to attract the insects. And of course, the ever not doing anything year over year pomegranate. I don't know what it is, folks. Every year we have a couple flowers and then it never really turns into pomegranates. This year we cut it back to be more shrub-like rather than more tree-like. Lots of green, no flowers. So we're just having a hard time here with pomegranates, and I don't know what it is we might be doing wrong. Is it the soil? Is it the nutrients? You think you're doing it all right? Who knows? I don't know. Now, the holdout last year, the lone standing blueberry, he's doing good so far. He's actually growing. He's green. He doesn't have the brown leaf mold rot that killed all my other ones. So we're watching this, fingers crossed, with the heat of the summer coming. Then, of course, here's another berry plant that's the lone survivor. And then we have here our brazzleberry, which lots of leaves. You know, this, I don't think this is part of the plant. It's not, get him out. But this is growing so nice, but I need to have it grow taller. This is what you call a brazzleberry, kind of a hybrid container berry plant, like a raspberry plant. So it's growing nice, and it's the second year, so we hope we get something out of it than that. We'll see. As we move on, the elephant ears. Boy, oh boy, folks, the elephant ears are growing their second and third generation elephant ears. And of course, here's our cantaloupe over here, and any cantaloupe that's not covered, I'm going to have to cover it, but Mr. Cantaloupe's doing well. Another elephant ear. This is last year's elephant ear that grew leaves that were 6 feet. They were huge. You could wrap yourself in one of them. But now the exciting thing this year is, look at this. Not one plant, but we got 4 plants coming out of here, which, good Lord, this container probably, we need to separate these guys into their own plant, because he's got 4 stems coming out of here. Crazy. And I can't believe how last year we had them in even smaller containers and they grew so big. You would think a plant with that many leaves and everything would need just a huge landmass, and it don't. I don't get it. But we're going to have to, at the end of the season, move some of his buddies to their own plant. Now this little guy's been the slowest of them there. He finally grew his own little flower or leaf, and he'll come back here hopefully. Here's a little weed. I'm going to pull that up. And then this guy's doing really good. He's got lots of leaves. I'm sure we'll get some big leaves. So I just love them things. They're such a interesting plant in that they can grow giant leaves. And I'll try to maybe plant some more of those and see how they do. Now let's kind of move over here to the flower garden part. Holy smokes, folks. I mean, when people say you can't grow in shade and you got a tree and it needs sunlight, well, we get sun, but this tree makes, I don't know, is it a microclimate that shades it a little bit? But these dang flowers are doing great. The butterfly plants and the red and brown and green leaves of these, and just these little pots, it just overflows. And even this guy's finally growing some new flowers. Seems like they grow and you got to cut them back and they come back, but holy smokes, folks, these things are overgrowing each other, and I got to spread them out so that they don't crowd each other out. Ain't that crazy? I mean, if you saw the earlier videos, they were just a single little plant in a little pot, and all you saw was pots and no plants. Now I don't know where one flower ends and the other one begins. Like this poor little guy, he likes the shade, I guess, but I got to move him a little bit, and they got to spread out. So this does good. And it's nice. So we'll have to do more of these kind of landscape whatevers. Now, as the garden expands like a weed, I'm starting to plant more stuff and take over more of the backyard. So what you can see here is these are called rosellas, or Jamaican hibiscus, or hibiscus, tropical hibiscus. They go by all sorts of names depending on what country's growing them. But basically, they're hibiscus, and they make a little flower. I guess they're a member of the okra family, but they make a little flower, but then when the flower goes back, it has these little red pods. It looks like, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, little pods. And the cool thing about this plant is that you can take the pods off, and then you take the seeds out and grow more of these later. But you can make tea out of the leaves. You can make jam. You boil the pods down into a jam or a tropical drink. So they love heat, and so what I'm trying to do now is grow stuff that can withstand the Texas heat. So this is my first little experiment here, and they get big. They get like a big shrub. So I have the 20-gallon bags here that I'm testing these out on. I have more that I started as seed, and I'm going to put them more in the front yard as in just the regular dirt to make a nice little shrub there. So we'll try to grow more of these because they seem like an interesting and pretty plant. Now, it looks like it's that time of the year. Look, folks, it's the cicadas, right? The 17-year cicadas, and there's a shell, and we'll probably hear them in the evening when they make that noise. But, yep, they're coming out of the ground. Now, as we move over here, here's another new addition, another experiment. Now, this, folks, is a 2x4 grow bag. I've been looking for something that is a square grow bag for like a raised bed, right? These little circles that we use all the time, they're great. But sometimes a circle isn't the shape you want. You want something long and rows, like you would normally put in row vegetables and root vegetables. And while they grow fine in the round, I like the rows to kind of get that depth and to get the rows. So these are a grow bag that I think are fairly new. At least I hadn't seen them. But they got them by 2x4s, 3x3s, 2x2s. I think they maybe have a 2 or 4x8, different lengths. Now they take a hell of a lot of dirt, but you get that depth for things like carrots and root vegetables, and it's out off the ground, so there'd be no weeds and all that good stuff. Now, what I'm growing here is carrots. Now, you know, it's hard planting these little seeds, folks, and I'm going to do some of the YouTube seed tape that you can make with toilet paper so you get spacing and all that good stuff. But yeah, carrots coming up. These are a purple dragon carrot. So they're coming up, and yeah, I'm going to have to thin them. And don't you just hate, like, picking out all the plants and stuff like that, because, you know, you want to get all the carrots, but you can't. As soon as they get a little bigger, I'll keep thinning them out. Now back here are radishes, and you'll be like, okay, well, everybody knows radishes, but these are the Asian radishes. These are the Korean radishes that get the size of like a softball, or just they're huge, long, round radishes. So of course I'll probably have to space these, because I've seen them get 2 to 3 inches in diameter, even more. And they just look like a fun vegetable to do, and you can pickle them and stuff in terms of how the Koreans use them as kimchi and that kind of thing. But we're going to test these seeds out, and the little purple carrot and the big Korean radishes, and we'll see how that goes. Now, the regular radishes that everybody else knows about, these are white icicle radishes. They are doing well in my original 10-gallon low pot. That's fine. Let me move this out of the way. And then, of course, the beets. Now, the beets are growing. They came up, but you know what? I don't think they're getting very big and round and very beety. So as you can see here, I don't know if you can see that, he's a little guy. I might have to pick the beets, and we'll just eat little beets. Swiss chard is growing. We got to cut that and start cooking that, and then eating that, so that looks good. Of course, the herbs back here doing well. Mint, basil, parsley, marigolds. The dill has gone to seed, but I got to replant the dill. Dills do not like our Texas heat, so I got lots of little plants I'll show you that I'm starting. So we'll redo the dill. The tomatoes back here are the cherry. They seem to be doing well. They got their new leaves. I need to shoot them with some fertilizer. And then, of course, this other second generation cucumber. It's growing after starting out kind of weak, but these leaves look good. I think I've ordered on Amazon some diatomaceous earth. So maybe I'll kind of give them a dusting, and same with the other ones. They're dusting back there of that. Maybe kill some of those things that are eating my plants. Same with the zucchini here. This is my second generation zucchini. The other one's just got a little yucky yellow. Again, maybe I over fertilized initially because there's lots of little yellow around it. So I'm going to do a little bit more lower dosing of the fertilizer. So I put these back in, and when I went to Home Depot, they were kind of sickly looking zucchini, but we'll see. They haven't died. They look like they've caught. Looks like flowers are coming up. We'll give them a shot. As we kind of keep moving over to the center, hanging baskets, they're growing. The hanging baskets on this side get more shade than the other side, so as you might imagine, one grows faster than the other. But with this Texas heat, maybe they're better off in the long run. Last year's strawberry basket here, the strawberry tower, it's growing. We had a few strawberries, but there's flowers in that. We'll see what's happening. The climbing roses with our trellis is doing well. The olive tree is growing, but I don't really expect olives. I don't think we're in the right climate for that. Maybe we'll get olives, but who knows. Here's a new thing to the garden, is a little watering dish. We'll put that out for the birds. But the baskets here, boy, do we got strawberry coming out of here. These baskets, really good. And they got the runners. And so, you know, I know I got to pick the runners so that you make the energy go into the plant better. But I just keep thinking that I can plant these runners and have more and propagate it. And you have to get them in some dirt so they root, but they're hanging. So I have to figure out a way of doing that. But they're doing well. Oh, boy, look at these runners here that are just growing down. And there's strawberries here, which is great. But maybe the runners are creating too much of an energy drain. So we'll have to pick some of that. Our vining plants, they're doing good here. I have to start helping to train them because now they're vining into the marigolds, right? And so, but they're not tall enough to latch on. We'll have to play with that. But they're doing really well. And there's so much to do in the garden, folks. I tell you, when you come back from a trip, it's lots to do and catch up on. But these are doing well. Look at those hanging baskets. They get the sun. They overgrow things. Ain't that amazing? And then here's the other experiment. Of course, I brought out the new dill plants. And so you can see little dill here. I'll try to grow that. These are ground cherries that I'm waiting to get a little bit bigger, and I'll put them in a pot too. And this is Groot, right? Because when we got the moringas, you know, they were fairly good starts. And then there was this little guy wrapped up that said, hey, here's a bonus, baby moringa. So, of course it looks like Groot. So we'll put him in a pot. Well, we'll get him a little bit bigger. Then we'll put him in a big pot too. But there is Groot. And then, of course, the other aquaponic experiments. So you learn as you go. I got the pak choi here and the bib lettuce. Some have died like that when they get a little weak and grow and die back. Some of them look like they're doing okay, but I don't know. It looks like maybe the support or the roots or something there. I got to figure out, did I transplant them too soon? Should they have been a bit bigger and then plant them where they had a bit more of a root structure, or just throw them in the aquaponics? So I don't know. Those are experiments. I mean, you see the folks on the YouTube, they throw it in there and they got like a whole head of lettuce here in like 2 days. So it's still learning. It's still not so much a, just drop them in there. You still got to make sure they're the right size, they got the right everything. But we'll see. And it's going to be getting hot. So I got these in a bit of shade so that they just don't burn up, because they'll die before anything happens around here in this heat. And the other kind of failures are the stupid pea plants. Now, granted, pea plants are more fall or spring, and they just kind of didn't move. But again, I had the fertilizer and all that in there. So any beans or legumes, no fertilizer. They'll make their own, and we'll let them do their thing, rather than how we fertilize these other plants. So you live and learn, folks, on this gardening thing. It's one thing after another. Now, of course, cherry tomatoes, the oranges, the plant's growing, it's got more flowers. So the cherries come back. You think they're dead? Nope, they're indeterminate. Now, of course, if I would have thought about doing this beforehand, there's over 100 containers here. I think we got all together 150 plus containers, and you'd be like, how do you got that many? What we do. And if I would have thought about it, those are all dirt and things that we bought at the store to fill them. But if I would have remembered to do this at the beginning of the year, and I always say I was going to and I never did, we have a really good company here that can bring dirt to you, right? And so we have here 3 yards of dirt from the Whiz Q Stone. And they have all kinds of dirt and stones and bricks and all sorts of stuff. And I have used them before, and they're great. And the other thing is, instead of just coming here and dumping a load of dirt on your driveway and you don't use it right away and it rains and it washes all away, they can put them in these bags. And these bags stand up pretty well. Now, if you do this at the beginning of the season, then you don't have to keep buying dirt and dropping it in your car and killing yourself. But look, folks, look at this nice mix here. This is a mix of, instead of just buying compost or topsoil, this is what they call their garden mix. It's a mixture of topsoil and a little bit of sand and a little bit of compost. So it's already pre-mixed for you, so you don't have to do too much. And, it's nice, it's airy, it's loose. And even though I could probably just grow directly in this, I still follow the same advice of the container garden folks on YouTube with the mixing it in with our, if I come back here, our bags of peat moss, right? So you still put in the peat moss, and you see back there I got my bags of perlite. So it's still going to be a mixture of those things, but what I'm not going to do is fight with these darn individual bags, and every 2 days you're like, I'm going to grow this, and you got to go get more dirt. What a inefficient way to do things. So now I have these 3 yards of dirt that I'll be able to do lots of stuff with, and then we'll just mix it in with the peat moss and perlite and make it fluffy like the containers like. But then will hold on to that moisture and we'll have a good growing medium. So that's some good dirt. You know, definitely will have the nutrients rather than just plain old dirt from the store. Now up front here, this is where we've kind of started to dig around. So as you can see, folks, why do you grow in containers, right? People may say, why do you do that? Because this is the Texas soil that we have in our area. This is clay, and you cannot grow in this stuff easily, and it takes a long time to turn this into good dirt. You know, you'd have to put in wood chips and stuff like that over the years to get something better, but oh, it's just awful clay. It's just terrible, terrible clay. And so that's why you grow into containers. But this is pretty loose here, and what I'm going to do is I started to put some of the rest of the dirt in the bed, and I'm going to try to grow the rosella or the hibiscus and other things here. It's just a front lawn ornamental stuff, and kind of do that a little bit, but I'll probably put some of that dirt in there, mix it up, and kind of amend it so that it's not just 100% clay. So we'll use this to you know, make a little something up here. All right, so that's about it for now, and we'll do more videos later.